Hello everyone, salam, sat sri akal, shalom, khosh amadid, and namaste. Good afternoon, my name is Nora Khan, and I will be one of your co-hosts today. And on behalf of Central Massachusetts Connection and Faith, CMACIF, and the Westborough Interfaith Clergy, I would like to welcome you all to our interfaith concert, Faiths in Tune. Yes, that's a clap. Everyone should be excited to be here. Just a quick note on what Central Mass Connections and Faith is all about. From Rabbi Rachel Gurvitz from Congregation B'nai Shalom in Westborough, Central Mass Connections and Faith, also known as CMACIF, came into being out of a desire to bring local people with diverse religious and cultural backgrounds together to help strengthen the connections in our local communities. Connections are strengthened by learning about each other's traditions and practices, but what makes CMACIF special is that we want individuals to connect with each other. One of the centerpieces of many of our programs is extended time for participants to engage with one another in small group conversations, truly meeting person to person, so that the next time that you run into somebody in the supermarket, in the coffee shop, on a train, you might see someone whose path you might not have crossed outside of one of these events that we've had, and you might pick up a conversation because you've already made that connection at CMACIF. Connections in Faith provides opportunities to broaden your knowledge of other faith traditions and broaden your community connections at the same time. Rabbi Rachel and Robbie Rubenstein are hosting a table where you can register to join our mailing list today. You can also find us on Facebook and on our website, connectionsinfaith.org. And there you'll find photos and slideshows of our previous programming. And in the spirit of making connections today, we'll be giving you some opportunities during the breaks between performances to connect with each other and ask each other questions about your backgrounds. So for example, during our first break, I'd like you to consider asking, what about your faith gives you the most joy or fulfillment? Now first up, we have the Congregational Church of Westborough. The Congregational Church of Westborough works to create a welcoming and safe place to worship God and to honor and explore God's promises. Their music program is diverse, including a traditional choir, a bell choir, contemporary music, and children's music. Members of the Chancel Choir will perform with members of the Faith Formation Singers with Hosanna in the Highest. Members of the Bell Choir will perform the Southern Harmony tune Promised Land. And for an energetic ending, members of the praise band Joy Spring will share My Lighthouse. Please welcome the Congregational Church of Westborough.
Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the
wonderful performance, everyone. Please give them another round of applause. I was especially really impressed by the coordination with the bells. I've never seen anything like that. That was really amazing. We have a little bit of time between our next, this one and our next performance, so I'd like everyone to take some time to reach out to the person that is sitting closest or standing closest to them, introduce yourselves, and ask each other the question, what aspect of your faith gives you the most joy or fulfillment? And to model, I would like to pick somebody in the crowd to have this conversation with. So we'll start over here. Would you mind if I ask you that question? Well, my name is Nora Khan. I'm from Sharon, Massachusetts, and I'm Muslim. And the aspect of my faith that gives me the most fulfillment is charitable giving is one of our 5 pillars of Islam, and that is practicing that in particular gives me the greatest fulfillment and joy because it makes me feel more connected to other people. How about yourself?
A much better answer than I have, but I think it's the sense of community that a church of whatever kind is. I'm a Christian Catholic, but it is just something to remind you that we're all in this together, and we have to care about each other more. And so, for me, social justice is the biggest thing that we all have to do.
And I think a lot of us have a lot of collaborations now on the same topics across our faith, which is wonderful. But I'm sorry, I missed, what is your name and what town are you from?
I am from Westborough. My name is Millie Duncan, and we lived here about 30 years ago and raised our kids for many years here. And then we moved to varying places, and we're back just this summer. So it's been nice to come sort of back to home. We ventured off. Well, we got to meet lots of other people in groups, different types of people, and that in itself is a wonderful.
And are you affiliated with the congregation here in Westborough?
Yes, we are at St. Louis.
It's very nice to meet you. Thank you for sharing. I'd like to encourage you to turn around to somebody who's either in your row or behind you, standing near you, and take some time to introduce yourselves. And I'm going to do the same. Could the Alhambra Academy, who's performing next, please make their way to the stage? So the Alhambra Academy is the first full-time accredited Islamic school in New England. Their goal is to raise children with a strong intellectual and moral background. They strive to provide an environment that encourages the cognitive, spiritual, moral, emotional, and physical growth of every student. They foster spiritual and moral growth in a progressive Islamic environment, an environment that instills in their students the universal values of love, compassion, peace, tolerance, equality, and justice. Their philosophy reflects a commitment to educate their students to become responsible and productive members of society through education and social partnership. Please welcome the Alhambra Academy. Let's give another round of applause to Alhambra Academy for a beautiful performance. And how cute are they? So next I'm going to pick another willing victim in the audience to have another conversation. And I would like everyone else to chat with their neighbors about as well. Would you mind if I ask you a question? Okay. So what is it that... Sorry, I lost my question. Okay, so how important is it to you to expand your knowledge of other people's cultures and backgrounds?
I think it's very important. So certainly you can get along better with people if you understand them when you go there.
And are you from Westborough?
Originally from Worcester, but since we've been married, we've been here for a long time.
Are you affiliated with any congregation in Westborough?
Congregational Church of Westborough.
And what's your name?
Jacqueline Smith.
Very nice to meet you.
I taught at the high school. Retired now. Yes.
You probably know many people in this community. And you taught several of them. Well, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you. Actually, yeah, I mean, thank you to everyone who said prayers for good weather today, because clearly it worked. All the collective prayers and positive thoughts gave us completely blue skies today and very, very moderate weather for November. So thank you, everyone. I don't see a lot of people mingling with their neighbors, though.
My name is Zaina.
Hey, Zainab? That's my niece's name. She's like one of my favorite people in the world, too. That's an awesome name. So, Zainab, where are you from?
I live in Hudson.
In Hudson? And do you come to Westborough often?
Sometimes.
And Zainab, what grade are you?
I am in 6th grade.
In Hudson?
Actually, I go to school at Shrewsbury.
And what is your favorite subject at school?
I really like science.
Really? Do you want to be a scientist when you grow up?
I actually do.
What kind of scientist?
A chemist.
Really? That's very impressive. What about chemistry do you love?
I really like the creativity where you get to mix up all of these mixtures and make a new one.
So cooking and baking is a little bit like chemistry too, right? Like the same, mixing different ingredients and knowing how the different properties interact with each other. So do you like to cook and bake as well?
Yeah, I don't cook all the time.
Do you apply what you know from chemistry into your cooking?
Yes.
What's your favorite thing to make?
I like to bake cake. I really like yellow cake.
Well, it's really nice to meet you, Zainab. Especially, I told you my niece's name is Zainab, so I love that name. So great choice. I mean, your parents' choice, but I love it all the same. It's nice to meet you, Zainab.
Waheguru. Saheguru.
Waheguru. Waheguru.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. That's our traditional greeting. Today we're going to do a very short repetition of God's name. For us, we're choosing the name Waheguru. So you're welcome to join with us if you'd like. It's just another name for God, Waheguru. After that, we're going to sing in the original language a Shabad, which is a spiritual hymn. And then we're going to sing that same Shabad in English. Was hoping that we'd have a translation for everybody because I'd love to have people sing along. But there are two parts where if you feel comfortable, you can join in. One in the original language is Bole So Nihal, Sat Siri Akal. And that is the English translation. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless, and great. So that's a repetitive part. If you get the hang of it and you feel like joining in, please do. And for the Simran part at the beginning where we repeat God's name, please, it'll be about a minute. Please feel free to repeat God in the name that you want to. The idea is for us to all tune in together, become one, and start focusing on God. Bole So Nihal, Sat Siri Akal. That's the repetition that's to come. De Shiva Bar Mohe Shubha Karman Te Kabahuna Taro. De Shiva Bar Mohe Shubha Karman Te Kabahuna Taro. Nadaro Arso Jab Jai Laro. Nische Kar Apni Jeet Karo. निश्चय कर अपनी जीत करो बोले सो निहाल सत श्री अकाल बोले सो निहाल सत श्री अकाल देश बाबर मोए शुभ कर्मन ते कबहू न करो देश बाबर मोए manate kab ho na karo. Tehe Shiva man mohe hai shubh kar manate kab ho na karo. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. That I fight fearlessly all my battles in life, always having faith in your victory. Always having faith in your victory. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. That my greatest goal is to praise God, to let your lessons are engraved in my mind. When this cozy life comes to an end, I die battling courageously with a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. If you want to play together lovingly, follow me on the path with your head and your hands. Step onto the path and lay down your head. Don't even worry that you can. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. Give me this gift, oh God, so great that I never stop doing what's right by you. That I never stop doing what's right by you. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. With a joyful spirit say, God is true, timeless and great. Ole Soniha, Sun City of Love. Ole Soniha, Sun City of Love. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
That was amazing. Give them another round of applause. And I would also like to welcome my co-MC, Pastor Jeff Goodrich, who served as the pastor of the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Westborough for the last 12 years. Pastor Jeff, it's great to see you. This was a wonderful performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, what a great couple of songs by New England Sikh Study Circle. And just a little bit about them. They were established in 1968 to serve as a Sikh center for spiritual growth, political understanding, community activism, and social gathering. And it governs the Gurdwara, that's the name for a Sikh place of worship, in Westborough, Massachusetts, where they have kirtan services on Friday evenings and Sunday mornings. they were also the host a couple of years ago of the Westborough Interfaith Thanksgiving service, and that was, yeah, a few people were there perhaps. So that was a learning experience for many of us to be able to worship in their space, which is a big open room where they usually sit right on the floor for worship. What do you think, Laura?
I truly enjoy this performance very much. I actually, it really reminds me of a lot of my interfaith experience that I had growing up. It makes me passionate about these kinds of events. And I know we talked about it a little bit in preparation for this event, asking each other how we each got involved in interfaith activities. So I know for you, like you grew up in Buffalo, in Concord, you're married to a congregational minister, your proud father Miriam and Simon. What brought you into the fold for these kinds of interfaith activities?
For interfaith events. Yeah, so I grew up in the Lutheran church when I was younger. And went to church every Sunday, very devout kind of family. But then I got kind of far away from that when I was in high school and college, and everybody needs to make their faith their own in some way instead of what they grew up with. And when I went to college, I studied in religion and learned about many different religious traditions. And one of those semesters I studied abroad in Chennai in India. So I was there for 4 months. And it was through seeing, it was mostly with Hindus, it was through seeing how faith was such a central aspect of their daily life that I was able to come back to what I grew up with a greater respect and understanding. So in many ways, my experience with people of other faiths led me back to my own. And so I always want to be involved with events like these, and perhaps that'll be true for somebody else today. What about you? How did you get involved with interfaith work?
Well, I grew up in Sharon, Massachusetts, and I started getting involved in interfaith work when I was in high school. I was an active member of Sharon's youth leadership program. And through that program, I got trained in facilitating interfaith dialogues, not only between folks my own age, but also the adults in town of different faith groups. I got trained in leading workshops on anti-bullying and being an active bystander for elementary school and middle school children in Sharon. And I also had the unique opportunity to be able to go to the Golden Institute Conference on International Peace and Reconciliation held in Amritsar in India. My most amazing memory of all that time was at this conference. I had the opportunity to celebrate Diwali at the Golden Temple in Amritsar, which is one of the holiest Gurdwara, holy sites of Gurdwara for the Sikh community there. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I was so honored to be able to have the chance to share that holiday with them. I know Diwali just passed this past week, so happy Diwali to everyone who is celebrating. One of my favorite holidays, as somebody who attends interfaith events, I absolutely love Diwali, so I hope everyone had a wonderful one.
All roads seem to lead back to India in some fashion or other. Yeah. Well, our next group is getting set. This is music from a Baha'i community. So members of the Baha'i community, they are honored to participate today and share with their brothers and sisters of all faiths in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. The Baha'i faith The Baha'i Faith is the world's latest independent global religion, and its major tenets include the oneness of God, the oneness of humanity, and the oneness of religions, which are successive and progressive chapters of divine revelation. So Baha'is work to promote unity, justice, equality, and betterment for all. They seek to collaborate with all well-wishers of our one beautiful and diverse human family. And they're still checking out their mics there, but one interesting connection in faith is that one of the Baha'i performers here, Rich, he's giving a his finger. And Rich and I play hockey together as a hobby in Concord. We're actually on the same team this season, so
Jeff's stopping goals, and I'm trying to prevent people from shooting.
he's on defense. I play goalie, and little did we know that we have this connection, not just at the hockey rink, but here. And that's what Massachusetts Connections in Faith is all about: getting to know our neighbors and those people whom we serve.
And I'm Bill from Marlborough. Thank you so much for inviting us to Faiths in Tune. As Jeff was reading earlier, for Baha'is, interfaith activities are really important for us, and we're encouraged to consort together with the followers of all faiths in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to do that. I'm going to share 3 songs with you. Typically we will share these during our devotionals, children's classes, youth classes, and so on. So hope you like them. Ready? The first song is really a blessing for this gathering. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, divine providence, shed a ray of light, shed a ray of upon this gathering, that it may become illumined. Shed a ray of light, a ray of light, shed a ray of light. Oh, divine providence, shed a ray of light, shed a ray of upon this gathering, that it may become illumined. Shed a ray of light, shed a ray of light, shed a ray of light, shed a ray of light. Thank you. This next song is called Strive, and the theme basically is when we strive to serve others, your life will become a prayer. So you're basically living a prayer no matter what you're doing, serving others or in your work, as long as it's done in a spirit of service, then your life becomes a beautiful prayer. Rich. I said second fret or first fret? 2. Sorry. Can you guys hear this? Okay, sorry. Okay, we'll start again. Now we're good. Strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always do that which is right and noble. Enrich the poor, raise the fallen, sorrowful, bring healing to the sick, reassure fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute, strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Turn towards God and seek always to do that which is right and noble. Enrich the poor, raise the fallen, comfort the sorrowful, bring healing to the sick, reassure the fearful, rescue the oppressed, bring hope to the hopeless, shelter the destitute, strive, 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 strive. Today, Baha'is are actually celebrating a very big holiday. It's the birth of Baha'u'llah, who is the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. And these are his words put into song. And the words are, "O friend, in the garden of thy heart plant not but the rose of love." O friend, in the garden of thine heart plant not but the rose of love. O friend, in the garden of thine heart plant not but the rose of love. In the garden of thine heart, in the garden of thine heart, in the garden of thine heart, plant not but the rose of love. Ooh.
Well, thank you to our Baha'i performers. Let's give them more round of applause. So just a little bit more about Central Massachusetts Connections in Faith. Our network has now grown to close to 300 individuals over the past 4 years, with many more who have attended at least one event, including the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Celebration that Central Mass Connections in Faith co-founded in Westborough in partnership with Westborough Connects, the Westborough Public Schools, and the Westborough Interfaith Association.
Through our participation in the MLK program, our leadership has taken steps in the past year to read and learn more about racial inequities, and we've engaged in training about implicit bias. We continue to seek to learn to grow so that the way we do our work can be even more inclusive.
And our organization has a unique kind of structure. So anyone who's participated in one of our programs can opt into joining our core team of volunteers and leaders. This is a group of about 30 to 35 individuals who meet a little bit more regularly during the year to plan and design our 3 annual programs. It's primarily lay-led with just a couple clergy in the mix to provide personal and institutional support. So if you are interested in learning more or helping in the future, we invite you to visit the information table over here where Rabbi Rachel's waving her hands and Robbie over there. And we'd be happy to add you to our email list and discuss the work of the core team a little bit further. Where can we find info online?
Well, we have a Facebook page, so please go follow us, like us, interact with our posts. And we also have a website, connectionsinfaith.org, so you can find all kinds of information about the programs that we've done in the past.
Yeah, and I mentioned that, so there's 3 annual events. One in the fall, that's this one right now, and then the Martin Luther King celebration, that's coming up in January. And then a note, since we just had the Baha'i Faith performing, they will be leading our spring event in May. So if you are curious to learn more about what exactly Baha'i religion is, keep an eye out or join our mailing list. The church where I serve, Good Shepherd Lutheran in Westborough, will be hosting the Baha'i members to come and educate all of us a little bit more.
So one more question on the topic of getting to know each other that we'd like to pose to you, and we'll pose to each other as well, is what is one thing that you think is misunderstood about your faith, and what clarification would you make? So Pastor Jeff, what would you say is one?
One thing that is sometimes misunderstood about my faith. Well, there's a lot of different kinds of Christianity out there, right? And so sometimes people come with an assumption about what it is that I believe, and those assumptions aren't always accurate because there's so many different varieties of Christianity out there. So there can be a lot of misunderstandings that come from that just because of the huge diversity that exists within Christianity. And I imagine that's true for Muslims too, right?
Yeah, actually, I would say similar misunderstanding that I often encounter is a lot of people tend to think that Muslims might be of a certain ethnic or cultural identity, and like they seem to think that Muslims all sort of may look a certain way. But when in fact there's really a lot of diversity in practitioners of Islam around the world. One thing people might not know is that there's more Muslims in India than there are in the entirety of Pakistan, which is a Muslim country. And the largest Muslim population in the world is in Indonesia.
Right, yeah. So lots of diversity in the Muslim world too. And that's probably true for most of our religions, right? Judaism, Islam, Sikh, all of the above. All right, looks like we are getting set for our next group. This is Chinmaya Mission Metro West. You want to tell us about them?
Yeah, the Chinmaya Mission Metro West is a spiritual and Hindu philosophical center in Westborough, with families from neighboring towns coming from diverse backgrounds. They meet weekly for imparting value-based education to children from pre-kindergarten up through grade 12, and for spiritual rejuvenation for adults, thereby creating a vibrant community. Chinmaya Mission follows the ageless wisdom of Advaita Vedanta, the knowledge of universal oneness, providing the tools to realize the wisdom in one's life. Today, the group will be performing 2 songs, Ram Bhajan in praise of Lord Rama, and the other song is to invoke world peace, well-being, fulfillment, and happiness, which I'm sure we can all agree we all could use a lot more of.
Just signal to us when you guys are set to go. What experience do you have with Hindu tradition?
Well, my family is from India, so quite a lot actually. My parents both grew up in Hyderabad in India, had a very diverse group of people that they grew up with, that they went to school with, that they were neighbors. And myself, like I grew up in Massachusetts, but many of my close friends growing up were Hindu. I had the opportunity to participate. So I had the opportunity to participate in a lot of celebrations of Hindu holidays. Diwali in particular is one that's very near and dear to my heart. And Sharon, there's been a Diwali celebration since I was a kid, which I got to attend and perform at many times when I was younger. So I see a lot of commonalities with my Hindu friends in ways that people wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about Hindu tradition, for the basics that I do know, is just the variety of deities, Rama and Krishna and Shiva and many, many more, Ganesh. So there's so many different ways to practice being Hindu. So each person, I'm sure, brings their own unique spin to their faith.
And there's also a lot of diversity in backgrounds. I mean, one of my closest friends in college is of Guyanese Indian origin, is Hindu as well. And that expanded my perspective. I didn't really know about West Indian practices in Hinduism. So I think that's a common theme, a lot more diversity within different religious groups than I think people might see at first.
I think we are just about set. Okay, so Shinmaya Mission Metro West.
Ram 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 Maithili Nandana Ram 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 Maithili Nandana Ram 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 Maruti Vandita Ram 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 Maruti Vandita Ram 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 Jaya Ram 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 Jaya Ram 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 भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् शान्ति 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 शान्तिः शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Please give them another round of applause. Jinmai Mission, thank you so much for a great performance. Next up, we'd like to continue the conversation that we're having with our neighbors. Jeff and I posed the question to each other about what is commonly misunderstood about your faith and what you'd like to clarify. So we'd like to invite you to ask somebody sitting or standing next to you the same question.
Feel free to move around. If you want to talk to somebody new, you can always get up and introduce yourself. Don't be afraid. We are all friends here today. And ask, what is one thing you think is misunderstood about your faith? What clarification would you give? Here we go. So again, we're sharing with one another something that we feel might be, that many others might misunderstand about our particular faith. And I'm wondering if there's somebody who's willing to share with me and for all of us. If I don't see any hands, I might pick on somebody here. Can I talk with you? Yeah, what is your name? Jacqueline. So what is your particular faith tradition? Congregational church in Westborough. And something that you feel is misunderstood about your faith?
No, I don't think so. I think everything's pretty
Protestant church, Christian church.
So you think most people have a pretty good sense of it. And do you feel like that's true for most other religions too? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so growing up, she's saying many were Christian or Jewish, but there's greater awareness now about many other religions. And so some of those misunderstandings, we can come together at events like this to try to learn and connect with one another. Thank you for sharing, Jacqueline. Our next group that's performing, getting ready, is Sri Radha Krishna Temple, Sri Radha Krishna Mandir in Northborough, Massachusetts. It is a temple devoted to celebrating and practicing the beliefs of Damodara, or popularly known as Krishna, one of many gods found within Hinduism, which teaches respect and tolerance of others' faiths, and Radha Krishna Mandir strongly follows this. So it's another Hindu group, Sri Radha Krishna Temple. You all set? Okay, here we go.
कर दी
Thank you so much, Sri Radha Krishna Temple. That was a wonderful performance. I really loved it. Jeff, you know, for our next performance, our next act, we have Abdullah Ghazi from the Islamic Society of Greater Worcester. But I know that you and I, when we were talking, you said that you've had an experience attending an event at the Islamic Society.
Yeah, the Islamic Society of Greater Worcester. I've always found them to be very active in getting to know their interfaith partners, and in particular, I had the chance to bring some of our youth from my church who were doing what we call confirmation, just a rite of passage, you might say, as they kind of grow into their adult sense of their faith. And so we got to go and visit and learn about Islam, and they had a whole presentation, and we witnessed their prayer time as well. And then afterwards, they had the most elaborate spread of pizzas and all kinds of food, and there were only about 20 of us there, but there was enough to feed at least double that amount. So they take their hospitality quite seriously. It was a wonderful experience visiting there.
We did similar activities in my town as well. In Sharon, usually during Ramadan, there's a interfaith iftar that happens as well. So definitely the spirit of having more than enough food for everybody present is definitely, I think, ingrained culturally and religiously for us. It's great though. In both of our towns and our communities, we have these opportunities to have these interfaith dialogues within these houses of worship.
And that's probably something that many faiths hold in common too, that idea of just having all kinds of food, more than enough for everybody to partake.
Food is a great way to bond over across many cultures, so we always say, right, the way to a person's heart is through their stomach.
Right.
So next up we have Abdullah Ghazi, who is the General Secretary at the Islamic Society of Greater Worcester, ISGW. ISGW was founded in 1978. It is a community of over 600 American Muslim families of diverse ethnic backgrounds that are bound together by their faith, love, equality, and desire to serve humanity. ISGW has played a vital role in providing Islamic activities for the Muslim community in the area. Besides maintaining an active mosque, it holds itself responsible for spreading peace, harmony, and love with all faiths. ISGW seeks to facilitate building networks and strong bonds with all religions through learning and social actions. ISGW strongly believes that in these times of so many sacrilegious actions, meaningful interaction with people of all religions is extremely important to eliminate negative stereotypes and to build positive attitudes and awareness towards every religion. Please welcome Abdullah Ghazi.
May peace and blessings be upon you all, in the name of God, the most beneficent and most merciful. I'll be reciting a poetry written by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, the founder of Zaytuna College in California, Berkeley. The name of the poem is Spring's Gift. It is a poetry written in love and yearning to meet the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. صلاة الله سلام الله على طه صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله. I envy the sand that met his feet. I'm jealous of honey he tasted sweet, of birds that hovered above his head, of spider who spun the sacred web to save him from his enemies. I envy clouds formed from the seas that gave him cover from the heat, of sun whose light could not compete. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah. With his whose face did shine so bright that all was clear in pitch black night. I envy sightless trees that gazed upon his form completely dazed. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah. With truth and kindness, charity, from God who gave such clarity. His mercy comes in one he sent to mold our hearts more heaven bent. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah. And men and women found their place with aspiration for God's face. I envy the cup that gave him drink, his thoughts that helped us all to think. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah. He taught us all to be God's slaves, and he will be the one who saves humanity from sinful pride. Muhammad has God on his side. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah.
All right, well, once more, thanks to Abdullah Qazi from Islamic Society of Greater Worcester. I think one of the really beautiful things about that connects us as people of faith is the role of the voice, of chant, of singing. So have you ever done very much singing or chanting as part of your faith?
I know that in the Sufi tradition, that is a strong part of that tradition, having the chanting. I attended a great many Sufi concerts. I very much enjoyed listening to it. I haven't actually participated in the singing myself, though.
Okay, yeah. Well, we get another treat here with the Zoroastrian Association of the Greater Boston area. Neither one of us knows a whole lot about the Zoroastrian faith. So, Ervad, would you be willing to just share a sentence or two about Zoroastrians?
Sure. First of all, thank you to the organizers for having us participate in this beautiful event on this gorgeous day. Clearly all the prayers were answered, like you said before. So the Zoroastrian faith is over about 3,500 years old, and it is the pre-Islamic faith of ancient Iran. It originated in ancient Persia, which is what it was called at that time, and originated through revelation of the prophet Zarathustra. The name of our prophet is Zarathustra. However, there were numerous interactions between Persians and Greeks, and Greeks wrote a lot about other cultures that they came into contact with. The Greeks called the prophet Zoroastrian, and therefore the faith is either known as Zoroastrian or Zarathustra. Most basic tenets of the faith are good thoughts, good words, good deeds. And like Nora said earlier, very common in many other faiths and many other beliefs. And one other thing I'd like to share with you, it is considered very important for every Zoroastrian person to always perform all their acts with righteousness. Always do the right thing, because it is considered the duty of every Zoroastrian to be the helper of God, to make things around you better. And if everyone does that, then the world becomes a better place. So, just a couple of things.
Thank you so much. So the prophet Zarathustra is the same as Zoroaster, just coming from different languages. Yeah. So Ervad Farhad Pantaki will present a collection of short Zoroastrian prayers related to peace and harmony. The prayers will be chanted in the Avestan language, followed by the English translation. Farhad is a practicing structural engineer and an ordained Zoroastrian priest. That's what the Ervad means, correct? Yes. And so as a member of ZAGBA, Zoroastrian Association of Greater Boston, he's the lead coordinator and one of the teachers for the children's religious education classes, and also provides religious services for the Zoroastrian community in the New England area. So, take it away.
Thank you. So I'd like to share with you a few selections of Zoroastrian prayers. Since the theme of today's gathering is peace and harmony, these are prayers related to peace and harmony. I will first recite them in the Avestan language and then follow each verse with the translation. Now Re Mazdao Ashim Vahu Vahishte Masti Ushta Asti Ushta Amain Yatashai Vahishtai Ashim. Glory be unto Ahura Mazda. Ahura Mazda is the name that Zoroastrians call God. Translated means Lord of Wisdom. Righteousness is the best wealth that leads to happiness, which comes to the person who is righteous for the sake of righteousness. Ayya yasau nimangahau Ustan zastor fedrayau Mainyeush mazdau paurvim Spentayau ashavis pengau shyauthnau Vangeush kratumanango Yaushne vishau geush chau urvaune With uplifted hands and deep humility, I beseech, O Mazda, first and foremost this, the abiding joy of your holy mind. Grant that I perform all actions in harmony with righteousness and acquire the wisdom of the good mind, so that I may bring happiness to the soul of the universe. Humatanam, huktanam, varashtanam, yadachau, anyadachau, veres yamdanam chau, va veres nanam chau, mahi aibi zaretaro, naine staro, yathanau, vahunam mahi. We praise good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, performed here and elsewhere, done in the past, or to be done henceforth. Thus we assimilate all these into our being and transmit them to others, with added strength of goodness, so that we may belong to the fraternity of the virtues. Vaini tammin mane srausho asrushtim akshti shanakshtim raiti sharaitim armaiti staro maitim arshubdo vaksho mithoktim vachim asho druzem Atha zamyau yathau afrinami. In this house, may obedience overcome disobedience. May peace overcome discord. May generosity overcome greed. May reverence overcome pride. May truthfulness overcome falsehood. May harmony and light overcome disorder and darkness. May it be so as I pray. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farhad. Especially thank you for telling us a bit more about your religion and your core values of it. Important to me as somebody who is really active in interfaith work to learn more about culture, especially ones that I don't know as much about. So thank you for both enlightening us as well as sharing your recital with us. Thank you. I'd like to just remind folks, if you are enjoying today's event brought to you by CMACIF, we would love it if you would join our mailing list, come to more events in the future, get involved in organizing them. We have our table right over here. Rabbi Rachel's waving her hands. So please come on over there and sign up to be on our mailing list so you can find out more about these kinds of great events in the future. I know, Pastor Jeff, that you've attended many of these events in the past and been participating in them. I think you were at the CMACIF's first event that led to the formation of Connections in Faith. It was an interfaith concert, and I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so that was a couple of years ago now. It was hosted by Congregation B'nai Shalom, and it was coinciding with the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. So the Hanukkah menorah, which was lit by leaders of the many different faith groups. Just like today, there was different musical performances from many of the faith groups that were there. And then, of course, there was food, always food. We had our first table conversations to meet one another. Now, as our next group comes up, this is the Cross Act of Marlborough and Bethel Presbyterian Church. And they are a theater group formed by their youth members from Bethel Presbyterian Church. So, Nora, do you have any experience with theater as part of your faith tradition in any way?
You know, I can't say I have. That's definitely new for me. I was involved in theater when I was in school, definitely a huge fan of it. I'm really interested to see how this group is going to entertain us with their performance, because I've never really seen theater as part of religious event.
When I was in college, so I majored in religion, and I minored in theater. And so my friends used to joke at me, and they said, "Oh, you're going to become a televangelist." I'm glad that was not my path, and I'm rather excited to see the theater presentation here. So the Cross Act of Marlborough.
Sort of a Memphis sounding horn section. I hear a baritone sax. Is it 10? Anyway, whatever. Something deep on top of this. I mean, you can almost go into a little rock and roll. It's kind of a 50s thing, but not quite.
Your head how to spread salvation to the nation. We'll start with the basics, a checklist for the saints. Love the Lord with all your heart and mind and soul and strength. To fear the Lord is wisdom, to serve the Lord divine. To really break it down, just repeat these words of mine. Say, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. How about you? How about you? I love Jesus. Yes, I do. I love Jesus. How about you? Grab your pen and paper. The lesson now begins. First up, church artillery. We are war with sin. God trains us to evangelists, apostles, prophets too. Pastors, teachers, 5 and all. We got work to do. Discernment comes interpretation, prophecy, and faith. Wisdom, knowledge, healing, miracles, yeah, those are great. These gifts are like atomic bombs. They make the word explode. But they just don't mean nothing unless you know the code.
Now, we're going to get to see, let me catch my breath, right? Now we're going to get to see Jesus' miracles. Not all of them, but just some of them. And they're precious. Amen.
my veins, in every word I pray. You gave it all for me. I'll give it all for you. Oh, I'm in love with you, overwhelmed by you. And if the world is listening, this is my confession. You are my obsession. All the people say,
What do you think? The cross act?
That was amazing, guys. I mean, wow, fantastic energy, and really, I've never seen anything like it before. Thank you so much for such a great performance. You guys did great.
It's always surprising how athletic a performance like that is. So you mentioned catching your breath. Yes, so our thanks to the cross act for that energy and that presentation and helping us connect with faith through the arts, through theater. It's a wonderful for us to receive that gift. So thank you.
We'd like to continue the conversation that we've been having with each other today, and we'd like to invite everyone to find perhaps a new person to have a conversation with. And the question that we'd like to have you address, and we will ask each other as well, is who in your life was a living example of a faith well lived, and why?
Can you think of somebody in your life, an example of who in your life was a living example of a faith well lived?
Well, I would say for me, they are living examples of faith well lived. I can't think of anybody any more than both of my parents, to be perfectly honest. They're first generation immigrants to the United States and raised a family here. And one of the things that they always imparted upon us was to embrace the best of all of the cultures that we come from and have came to. And that, I think, really was embodied, like the spirit, the way that I grew up, and the kinds of things that they taught me. They were involved in interfaith activities before I was, when I was a child, so they're really the ones who brought me into the fold. So if I really had to pick examples of faith well lived, I would say through my parents, I think I see examples of how I'd like to live my faith.
Great. So we want to invite all of you to share with one another. We heard an example from Nora, so turn to somebody around you and ask that same question. An example in your life of a faith well lived. And while we're talking with one another, the Islamic Masumin Center of New England is preparing to perform next. So an example, share with one another.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that is love, and this place could be much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for living, to make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough with living, to make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel fear or dread. We stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love's enough for us growing to make a better world, make a better world. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. And the dream we were conceived in will reveal a joyful face, and the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then why do we keep straining life on this earth, crucifying its soul through its pain to see this world's heavenly? Be God's glow, we could fly so high, let our spirits never die. In my heart, I feel that you're all my brothers. Create a world with no fear. Together we'll cry happy tears. See the nations turn their swords into plowshares. We could really get there if you care enough for the living to make a little space to make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living. Make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying if you care enough for the living to make a better place for you and for me. Allah made everything, Allah made everything, Allah made everything, the earth and the blue sky, hey little fish in the bottom of the ocean, moving along in a really cool motion. Did you ever wonder where you came from? Who is the Lord of all creation? Little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord. The little fish said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Hey little bird so way up high, light up the sky with your colored design. Tell me who made you and I, me to walk and you to fly. Little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord. The little bird said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator. There's no one greater than Allah. So why do we stand tall? Too proud to recognize what's right before our eyes. Signs from my Lord. Hey alligator, lying so still. Who's your maker? By whose will? Do you crawl and do you swim? Who controls everything? The alligator said, that's my Lord. The alligator said, that's my Lord. The alligator said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Hey, king of the jungle, mighty lion, top of the food chain, no denying. Who is the one that you rely on, life or death? Who is deciding? The lion said, that's my Lord. The lion said, that's my Lord. The lion said, that's my Lord, Allah, the creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our creator. There's no why do we stand tall? Too proud to recognize what's right before our eyes. Signs from our Lord. Hey my brother, hey my sister, see yourself as self-sustainer. Don't you see what will come later? We all return to the Creator, then we'll say, that's my Lord, then we'll say, that's my Lord, then we'll say, that's my Lord, oh Allah, forgive us all. I traveled the world, north to south, east to west, and there ain't no doubt. Whoever I see, wherever I found, I can hear them sing out loud. Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord, Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord, Alhamdulillah, praise my Lord, Allah, the Creator of us all. Allahu Akbar, our Creator, there's no one greater than Allah. So why do we stand tall, too proud to recognize what's right before our eyes? Signs from our Lord, has Allah made everything. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. You and I. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. The earth and the blue sky, but do we thank Him? Do we remember Him? Thank Him for everything. Surrender to only Him with all our lives, 'cause Allah made everything. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. You and I. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. Allah made everything. The earth and the blue sky, but do we remember Him? Thank Him for everything. Surrender to only Him with all our lives.
Well, our thanks to the Islamic Masumin Center of New England. It takes such courage to get up and perform in front of everyone with our young performers. So give them a big round of applause. Thank you. The Islamic Masumin Center in Hopkinton has been serving the New England Shia Muslim community for the last 20 years. They are a religious organization, and their services include Friday prayers, weekly reflections with supplications on Thursday nights. They run a vibrant Sunday school for children imparting Islamic education. They hold regular interfaith events and special programs in the Islamic months of Muharram and Safar. And the holy month of Ramadan fills the center with congregants who come to break their fast together and pray and supplicate as one. So it's all carried out with a large group of community volunteers under the leadership of Imam Mehdi, who has been serving this community for the last 7 years. Most of their weekly programs are conducted in English, and people of other traditions are always welcome to join. So interesting to learn a little bit about our neighbors in Hopkinton.
I mean, really, it's what you said, like, it takes a lot of courage to come up here when you're that young and give a solo performance. I'm just really impressed by just the stage presence of both the very young performers. It was really wonderful. We do have a little bit of time before our next performance, so we did, before this past one, pose the question of who in your life was a living example of a faith well lived and why. So I don't think most of you had a chance to ask each other that question yet, so I thought I would ask Pastor Jeff, who was an example in your life of a faith well lived?
I think of my grandmother. Like you mentioned your parents, I think of my dad's mother, who is somebody who is never experienced a whole lot of the world. She's lived in the same town, North Tonawanda, New York, just north of Buffalo, for her. We unfortunately, one of our groups was not able to make it today, and so we are a little ahead of schedule, but that is just... the phone's cutting out a little bit, but we're just going to take 2 minutes to make sure you all had the chance to talk with one another about that question. Again, who in your life is a living example of a faith well lived? Go ahead and take a couple minutes now, and then we'll introduce Sheer Joy. Well, Sheer Joy is almost ready to go here. They are a chorus, an adult trans-denominational community chorus dedicated to learning, sharing, and performing Jewish music from the rich and varied Judaic cultures of Israel and the Jewish diaspora. The chorus is non-auditioned, so it's open to all people, regardless of ethnicity or religious background.
Sheer Joy is dedicated to raising awareness and appreciation of the breadth and beauty of Jewish culture. In addition to its 2 annual concerts at Congregation B'nai Shalom in Westborough, the chorus performs at Arts in Common in Westborough, Yom HaShoah Commemoration in Worcester, for Jewish Federation events, Northborough Community Meals, the annual Communities of Song concert in Worcester, and in other settings. And for anyone who likes a pun in multiple languages, Sheer in Hebrew means song, so Sheer Joy works on at least 2 levels. And I'm more than excited to experience Sheer Joy listening to you.
All right, here we go.
Circle
Again, our thank you to Sheer Joy Chorus. Let's give them one more round of thanks.
Can you feel the joy, Jeff?
I can feel the joy.
I feel the joy.
Yeah. And I mentioned before that one of our groups didn't make it, but in fact they have made it. So Sheer Joy is exiting the stage, and the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is next. And you guys can come on up and start to get set right up here with our sound guys. As they get set, Nora, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Connections in Faith once more?
Of course. So connecting in faith means that we're here for each other in the difficult times as well as the good times. When a white supremacist murdered Jews at prayer in the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh 3 years ago, the response from the community, organized by Westborough Connects, was incredible as hundreds of people filled the lobby at Congregation B'nai Shalom to show support and provide comfort. Outreach through coming together, gifts, and letters have likewise been shared with the Muslim community after the attacks in Christchurch, New Zealand in 2019. And I also, in my town, in Sharon, we also had very similar outreach in our faith communities, showing up in full force for support at each other's houses of worship after these incidents as well.
That's one of the beautiful things about connecting in faith, right? When there are these hate attacks around the world, that we can rely on the connections that we've made and offer love and kindness and support to our friends, to our neighbors, to people of many different faith traditions. In the same way, our many houses of faith right here in Westborough have a tradition or a history of practicing hospitality to other faith traditions too, in particular through sharing space. So when the only faith buildings here in Westborough were churches, they were welcoming. They created space for others to eat within their walls. The Jewish community was hosted by local churches before they built a home of their own. And now, today, they practice that same spirit of hospitality as Congregation B'nai Shalom hosts Shenmaya Mission Metro. Oh, my microphone's cutting out. I'll let you take over this intro.
Okay, sure. The Congregation B'nai Shalom hosts Chinmaya Mission Metro West for their Hindu program, along with others. Local religious and civic groups have opened their spaces for Muslims to pray together on Fridays. And when the Sikh Gurdwara was built on Flanders Road, we had many opportunities to celebrate the opening of their new home, and we have been blessed by the many contributions they have brought to our town and beyond. These are just some of the ways that connections in faith are established and strengthened in our community. And if this event and the ones that we described to you sound like things that you'd like to be involved in again, please, we'd like to remind you, Rabbi Rachel has a table over there where you can sign up for our mailing list and hopefully become involved in our future events.
So this is our last group, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. After they perform, we have a special treat coming with many of us coming together to sing a song called We Are the World. So make sure to stick around for that finale. But the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is a branch of the monotheistic Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition within Hinduism, dating back 5,000 years to Lord Krishna himself. The society was established in the West in 1966, with the Boston branch being one of the most prominent temples.
Their mission is to propagate spiritual knowledge and promote the well-being of society by teaching the science of devotion, Krishna consciousness according to the Bhagavad Gita and other ancient scriptures which develop a love for God. The Hare Krishna mantra is meant to enhance consciousness to the greatest possible degree. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra can give peace and happiness and uplift us from the negative effects of this age of quarrel and hypocrisy.
All right. looks like we need just a couple more minutes, so give us a signal when you all are set to go. I do want to lift up just an expression of gratitude for all of the many different traditions that have been represented here today. We've been blessed with such beautiful weather. I know that some of our organizers and practically every email they were stating to pray for good weather, pray for good weather. So perhaps all of those prayers did something for us and gave us such a gorgeous day to gather. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree. Especially given how chilly it's been the past week. I was fully expecting us to come in here wearing our bundled LL Bean jackets, the puffer coats, and here I am abandoning it. So this is the warmest day we've had in some time. So the weather really held up for us today.
And we mentioned that core team for Central Mass Connections in Faith earlier. That is the group that really came together to make today possible. That group of about 30 people, just tireless efforts of planning and organizing, of getting here earlier this morning to set up, and others who will be here to clean up afterwards. So there's a lot of plans behind the scenes that we don't always see to make something like this possible. So we're extremely grateful to everyone who has joined in. Okay, and it looks like we are set to go. So the International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
So our thank you to International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And so now many of our are gathering again. We're going to do a closing song called We Are the World. Nora, how did we come across this song?
Well, this song came into our program because of one of our tireless organizers, Sheila Eladrus. She had this idea for the song. In addition to working tirelessly to organize this event, she had this idea for this beautiful song to really embody the spirit of what today's event was all about, which was bringing all of us together and emphasizing that we are all the world and we are a family. And a little bit about Sheila. She's been a member of Central Mass Connections and Faith for over 2 years. She's also a member of the New England Bangladeshi Association, Westborough Connects, and a co-leader of the Sisterhood of Salam Shalom. And in her day job, Sheila is a teacher at Faith School in Southborough, Massachusetts.
Great, and while Nora and I are talking, please, performers, come right up on stage and start to assemble up here behind us so that we can be all set in just a couple of moments to sing this together.
And we'd also like to invite our fellow soloists up to the stage, Janet Penn, Joyce Friedman, and Jack Glennon. If you could please come on up and join us. So this event could not have been possible without Sheila Eladrus and Mark Sibel. Rabbi Rachel, I'd like you to invite you up to say a few words about Mark and
Well, it's been an incredible afternoon, and we heard a little bit about Sheila Eladrus, who really conceived of this whole idea and has been tireless in her work, but partnered with her every step of the way has been the facilitator of Central Massachusetts Connections and Faith, Mark Siebel. Yep, he definitely. So Mark stepped forward when we were just forming this group as an experienced facilitator, and he had asked if he could assist in coordinating the activities of this group. As you heard, we are diverse. We are a mixture of lay people and of clergy who come from many different faith traditions and many different towns, and we needed to be organized. And boy, has Mark kept us organized. He brings an incredible creativity and an openness. He has helped to forge bridges and helped us find new connections in faith. And he and Sheila together have been on top of every single detail of this whole event, and we could not have done it without them. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there are three people that I want to recognize before we sing this last song that we hope you will join in. And if you've got a program, it's got the words in it. It's in one of the middle pages. It's called We Are the World. And it was first performed many years ago at a USA for Africa fundraiser, global fundraiser, and it's just been a popular song ever since. And the idea that Sheila had, and I've learned that it's really Shechla, and I'm trying to remember to call her that. She wanted to do this song. We were sort of stumbling because the original song was about 11 minutes long. And the first person I want to recognize is this guy. His name is Joe Stilitano. And one of my rabbis in Andover, when I lived there, used to say, God will provide. And that was the case. we really needed somebody to organize this song, and Joe created 2 4-minute, much more abbreviated, much better for this gathering, YouTube audios really. One with karaoke with his voice and another person's, and one with no voice that people could learn. And he adapted the lyrics, and this song is happening because of him. The second person I want to recognize, where is Joed? The second person I want to recognize is this guy. He, another Sheikhla discovery. She knew him. She knows everybody. And he has been the sound tech person, and not sure that you've noticed, but all day long, he and his assistant, Brian, have been changing the microphones, changing the this, changing the that, to make every single performance be as good as it can be, sound as good as it could sound. So I want to recognize him. So this is living proof. This is living proof that a Jew and a Muslim can do something good together. But what I want you to all understand is that this event is the result of one person's vision, and it's Sheikla's. She thought of it several months ago. She proposed it. I very stupidly said I would work with her to make it happen. It's been an incredible adventure, but she knows everybody. She recruited probably 10 of the 12 groups that we had. She kept in contact with them. She came up with just ideas and ideas and ideas and things for us to do. And as I said, this is all her. And I just want everybody to know that.
Must lend
So thank you everyone for coming today. We invite you to, once more to make sure to sign up for the email list for Central Mass Connections in Faith, or find us online. And make sure to come to our next event, the Martin Luther King celebration on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It'll be at Westborough High School on in the morning on that particular day. January 17th, thank you. Nora, what are you taking away from today?
I'm taking away that I need to come visit Westborough more often. You guys have a wonderful, vibrant interfaith community here, and I definitely am taking away that I want to be more involved. I want to come to these future events and hopefully be part of planning them too.
And I am taking away this incredible feeling that we are all leaving with from singing together. It's amazing the community that can happen amongst people across many different differences. And as we go, we encourage you to share with one another, even if it's in the car on the way home. What are you leaving with after today's Faith in Tune event? A great big thank you to everybody who helped make it happen, and to all of you for coming today. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.